Hey guys, today we are making Salmon Wellington. This is usually known as beef Wellington, but I don't eat beef, so this would be the perfect recipe for me, and I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I did. So first we're going to start with cutting up our shallot. If you could not find a shallot, you can definitely replace it with an onion, but that shallot definitely adds just a different flavor, and it is absolutely delicious. So go ahead and cut that up to very small pieces like so. And set that aside. We're just gonna go ahead and finish prepping our ingredients. We're gonna also cut up some garlic. If you don't know, you can press the knife down into the garlic to immediately take that skin off, and they'll pull it right off. And you can put it in a garlic presser, or you can be an insane maniac like myself and cut up each little tiny piece of garlic. So if you want to do that, you can go ahead and cut that up, and then also set that aside as well. Once your garlic is cut up real nice and small, go ahead and put some oil into your pan until it is hot, and go ahead and add in that shallot. Saute that down for a little bit. As I always say, garlic does burn quickly, so we're going to make sure that shallot is really cooked down before we add in that garlic. Once that cooks for about 7 minutes, go ahead and add in that garlic, and we're going to saute that as well, and just make sure you are watching that garlic, because like I said, garlic does burn and you don't want to lose all that beautiful vibrant flavor that is coming from that garlic. Go ahead and add in some fresh spinach. As I always say when I cook the spinach, it's gonna scare you at first because it's gonna look like it's too much, but if you know, you know, this spinach is about to turn into literally 2 pieces. So we're going to go ahead and cook that spinach down so it is nice and tiny looking, as if you put literally 2 leaves inside. And as you can see, that spinach is already cooking down. So I like to go ahead and add in the cream cheese once it's like kind of halfway through, so we're just not completely overcooking the spinach. So go ahead and add in your cream cheese. It's easier if it's room temp, but I mean, it really doesn't matter. I've done it both ways because that heat is going to cook it down anyway. So go ahead and add in the spinach and just keep mixing it around, and the cream cheese and spinach will start to melt down, and this might take just a little minute depending on your cream cheese temperature. All right, once that cream cheese is cooked down, we're going to go ahead and add in our seasonings, which I have listed below. And this is another one that I definitely just suggest just tasting a little bit, just to see how you like it. This was perfect measurements for me, but you might want to just give it a test. Then I'm adding in some fresh parmesan, freshly grated. I prefer over the bag cheese that has all those little things to keep it fresh, and I'm just not a fan. So go ahead and add in that fresh parmesan, and we are going to get our salmon prepped and ready to go. So I had an issue with my salmon. My Instacart order did not bring the salmon that I wanted, so I had to use some salmon that was also in my freezer along with this salmon. So that's why my salmon looks completely different than the other piece. But go ahead and season both sides of your salmon and set that aside, and onto a floured surface. We're going to pull out that puff pastry. I'm not making puff pastry from scratch, y'all, and I don't think anyone does. Go ahead and roll it out. Make sure it's nice and floured, just like you would with any dough. And of course, you rolling it out is going to depend on how thick or thin you want yours. But the puff pastry rolls out pretty far. So we're going to cut that in half, that puff pastry, and roll it out just a little bit more, and set your salmon inside. I actually forgot to put my mixture in the first one, so that's why it changes. So go ahead and fill that up. I wanted to show you guys, if it didn't cover, you can literally just put another piece of puff pastry on top. and it'll be completely fine. Just go ahead and cut off the ends and set that aside until we are ready to egg up our puff pastries. And again, just put that salmon into the puff pastry and then put our filling on top of it. I like to kind of put mine towards the end of the puff pastry so that I can just easily cover it up and see that it has enough space for the salmon. Go ahead and close that up like a little hat pocket and close up the ends. Make sure they're nice and sealed, and then you can just kind of cut off the excess puff pastry. Then we have to put those beautiful designs. Just get a little knife and just give it a little tug. It should cut pretty easily. And then I'm going to do some going down, and I'm going to do some the opposite way to get that little box stripe. But you can also leave it just like this, and it'll still have a really pretty design. Next, make sure you go ahead and have your oven preheated, and then we are just going to mix up this egg so that we can cover our puff pastry in it so that it cooks really pretty and brown. Go ahead and cover up that puff pastry in the egg batter, and just make sure that it's really covered. This is just going to give you that beautiful crust onto the puff pastry that we usually see. Once you have fully coated your puff pastry in that egg, you're going to place that into the oven for about 40 minutes or until it's nice and brown like this. And I just like to sprinkle a little bit of lemon on top just to add some flavor. And that is it. That is how you make Salmon Wellington. Let me know how your Salmon Wellington came out. And as always, thanks for watching.